Hello and welcome to another episode of the Off the Tools podcast. Myself, Wayne Bettis, and co-host Andy Jones. How are you doing, Andy?
Good. AI. Let's get straight into it. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, so AI. What is AI? Artificial intelligence. Answer my own question because I don't know why. I think it's a rhetorical question, I guess. So this subject is, we could probably talk every week on AI because it's changing so much. But I think to put a bit of context to the episode, I just want to share a little bit first about where I've been with AI and what my thoughts were, say, a year ago, 18 months ago, to where they are now. So when I first started hearing about AI, it's got to be a couple of years ago, I guess, like the first sort of like levels of it were starting to come out. I sort of saw it as a bit of a novelty. Using ChatGPT was fantastic. You could throw in some information, get some content out of it. And I was sort of using it ad hoc. I never really thought much about it. Then probably about 18 months ago, I started to take it a little bit more serious, and I started to see, you know what, this could actually be really, really helpful. Anyone that I'm 38. Most of our listeners are between sort of 24 and 44. When I was younger, I presumed that any sort of like AI sort of thing like that you used to watch would be like physical. I thought it'd be like robots. I thought it would be like shelf stacking. I thought it'd be in factories. I never even thought about it from a sort of business aspect, from a small business. I just thought, well, small businesses is never really going to be a thing. Until I started to notice how AI could sort of deal with phone calls was probably the first wake up call. And the first level of it was quite primitive. But I sort of thought, you know what, this has some serious legs. This is going to grow. And I took a strategic decision to wait sort of 6 months to 9 months before sort of doing anything major, because I felt it was very too new to invest any time or money in back then. And then since then, I've sort of fallen in love with it. I'm using it in my business. I always believe, just a quick caveat, there is always going to be a place in this industry, especially the next 20, 30 years, for humans, right? You know, from a physical aspect, obviously, you're not going to be getting robots come around and fit taps and service boilers. And even in the office, answering phones, there's always going to be a need for humans. So I'm not one of those people that feel that it will take over. I feel it was just like a tool. You know, if you're a tradesman, you've probably got an impact driver because it's 10 times fucking easier to screw a screw in with an impact driver than it is to use a manual hand screwdriver. All of the wrists of the old school tradesmen from the 70s, they've still got strong forearms and wrists. Us modern day people just get vibration fucking problems rather than strong wrists. But the reason I mention that is because I see AI in the trades industry as another tool. So I don't think it replaces something. I think it's just a tool that you have in your toolkit, metaphorically, obviously, that you can then use where you feel appropriate. So as it stands right now, I'm actively using AI across both businesses, my plumbing business and also within Off the Tools. I'm actively learning. I'm actively building stuff with AI. And I feel a bit like an explorer at the moment. I'm dipping my toe over here, digging a little bit, seeing what that does, digging over here, seeing what that does. And it's moving so fast. It's so hard to keep bandwidth available to keep on top of it. But that's where I'm at with AI. Obviously, we're going to dive deeper into that in a minute. But what's your story with AI, Andy?
So obviously I'm a bit newer into it than yourself, being much newer to business. However, I can see that it's now filtered down into almost everything, and it's probably far more prevalent than people perhaps realize when they ask something to do something, or they put in a search engine or whatever it might be. For us, the big one, and in this particular industry, in the trades and construction industry, it's like you say, it's a tool, isn't it? There was a time where, it wasn't that long ago where plumbers were still having to cut copper pipes with a hacksaw, and then the pipe slice came out. What a phenomenal invention that was! Like you say, it is just a tool. And a big one we spoke about before is how answering the phone yourself as a tradesman can devalue your business. You can leverage something like AI to elevate it. And AI, from a call handling perspective, has been around over a decade, hasn't it? Like we used to, you'd have rang a big insurance company 10 years ago and you'd have come through to a very primitive AI. Whereas that technology has, not only has it moved, it would have cost millions back then probably, but it's moved forward exponentially, but is now integrated into so many things. We spoke on the last episode about software, and how ServiceMate is our preferred job management software. ServiceMate have a lot of AI built into that itself. So it ranges from really simple things that I find intriguing. That, so for example, there's a way of booking annual leave off for your staff in ServiceMate, and all you need to do now is talk to it like a person. You can just say, oh yeah, Wayne wants to take the 20th of November off in the afternoon because he has he's got a gym session booked in, whatever it might be. And then that's it. And it will just go away and do that for you. On top of that, the more later stuff that it's done is an out of hours call answering agent. This is kind of the hot topic, really, isn't it, in the trades at the minute, is the AI call answering capabilities. We've got one guy in the group with a multi-7-figure business who's really gone to town on it. He's got the real top of the line stuff. For us, we're using the inbuilt one, and what's really intrigued me is starting to learn the coding side of it. I say coding, it's relatively basic coding / prompts / FAQs, and you can basically teach it to be able to answer almost anything, and it then basically can populate a job form. So if you look at it from the perspective of how much most guys are either losing a shitload of work by not getting back to customers in the evenings and weekends, or they're losing a shitload of time by doing it. By having the AI capture that data out of hours, what you can find is, whether it's yourself or someone in the office, they can come in the next morning to a populated job card with name, address, email, phone number, and an explanation of what's the issue is. No heating, hot water, whatever it might be, for Janice at whatever, making it really easy to get back to them, and you're also aware of the situation for that. So that's where we're at in our business currently, is really starting to delve into the realms of leveraging the call handling side of things. And what I think it might allow some guys to do is perhaps leapfrog to a more professional level of business. And by leapfrog, I mean leapfrog over having to make a full-time office person as your next step. You can do it the other way around now. You can get the AI call handling first and then move to someone in an office-based setting. Because as you say, there's always going to be a need for a customer service outbound type person in that position. But you can change the order of which you do that. And for us, you can, in my opinion, cut down the amount of people you need in the office by probably 75%. We've only got 2 ladies in the office, Had there not been the power of automations like we were talking about in previous podcast and the AI running, we would probably need, I would say, five or six.
Yeah.
We can do it with two now. And that's the interesting times of it. As things progress, we're either going to need number three, or we increase the AI's capabilities. That's the two choices now rather than one. You know, I know a local competitor to our heating business has 5 people in the office because he still does it in an old school way. Yeah. So that's, I think, for the guys who maybe don't even have any software yet, this could be an interesting thing for them to start thinking about. It's a very quick and cheaper way, arguably, to elevate your business, isn't it? Like, thinking, I'm going to have to pay someone 25-30 grand a year. I'm going to have to get an office space. I'm going to get, buy all the computers and that. You can push the business forward quite a bit just by implementing that job management software and the CRM software with AI.
I think, right, before we carry on this conversation, we show some AI. All right. So before this will be the first time I've done this live, so hopefully it will work and hopefully it will you'll be able to hear it all through the screen. I'm pretty sure you will. So fingers crossed. I'm just going to give you some guidelines to what I've built. So this is live in my business. It handles every single phone call. I built it to encourage online booking. Okay. What I wanted to do was push people rather than to call up and book in manually. I wanted them to have the option to book online. We have seen, since implementing this, we have seen in excess of 50% increase on online bookings. So for those that don't know what an online booking, basically it's hands-free. The customer books online, they put their details in, they choose the job that they want, and they schedule it into the live diary. So it is a very efficient way to run a business, and that 50% plus is going up more and more every single day, deciding to book online. And a big part of that is because of the way we're handling our calls at the very beginning. So let me try and share my screen. I'm just gonna add this. So my AI is on the Optimal's sales line software. Okay, so there are alternatives. There are other ones. ServiceMate now has it built in as well. But for this example, I want to show you my one and remember what I've said about what it's built for. So what I'm going to try and do now is initiate a call, and basically it's going to treat me like a customer. Okay, so let me start the call.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Hello, you've reached Warmer Home by WB Gas Limited. Can I take your first name, please?
John.
Thanks, John. Would you like me to 1. Text you a link to book online? 2. Connect you to the office? 3. Or take a message for a callback?
Can you send me the link, please? The booking link.
Okay. A text has just been sent for you to book online hassle-free. Thank you and goodbye. It seems I couldn't send the text just now. Do you have a mobile number I can try sending it to?
Yes. Oh, yes, because I've done a web call. So, yeah, the phone number is 07970 333 999.
Got it. Let me send the link to that number for you. One moment. It seems the text still couldn't go through. No worries. Would you like me to connect you to the office instead? Or take a message for a callback?
Yes, please. Yeah. Can you connect me, please?
I'm connecting you right away. Thank you and goodbye.
And then what will happen? So this is in test mode. So yeah, so it's not going to actually connect us, but when that's a live call, that will have sent us the message. That would have either put us through to the office, and like I said, that is increased our online booking well over 50%. So that's just a very primitive version, and it's also just another note on that. When it's out of hours, it doesn't give the option to send to the office. So it removes that option. So it will only say book online or leave a message and we'll get back to you. And then on the back end of that, we get a full transcript of that conversation come through via email. So if they have left the message will be in that. And also, obviously, we can just keep on track of who's called and what's what. And that's just a simple version. So you imagine if you're a plumber and or electrician, and it's just you in a van, you're always busy, you know, what a first level to start doing. So we route all of our calls through that first. So every call that comes into our business goes to that AI and then obviously gets actioned according to what the customer prompts. And what I found is, or what contradicted my view, I thought old people wouldn't use it. But because we sort of engage them in the conversation, so we ask them their name and then we give them choices, it seems like the older generation are embracing it as much as the younger generation, which was a bit of a shock for me. I thought that I would struggle. A lot of my clients are 60 plus, but they are happily using it. Obviously, naturally, the older generation are opting to get put through to office more than the younger generation, but it is steadily changing. So yeah, that was just a live example. Like I said, because I did it in test mode, it didn't send the text message. The service mate one is a very similar process, but I guess the bigger bonus to the service mate one is that it actually sort of creates a job in the system, which this can do with more technical building, but horses for courses, you know. Because
I would argue that
in our group is using one that books it in and everything. So there's all different levels, but obviously at every level it goes up in cost, doesn't it? So
I would say what you've built there on Sales Lion is probably going to be the best thing for people to dip the toe in the water with it.
That's what I built it for, as a starter package, you know, just as a first stage, you know, see how you get on, see if it's something that you want to progress further with.
Imagine that running. Obviously, we're moving into, you know, we're a week away from 2 weeks away, whatever it is, from official UK winter. And that, imagine lying under a boiler or whatever you're doing, and that dealing with it for you.
Yeah,
that's what I say to a lot of the newer lads that we speak to. Like, that's usually, aside from the regular conversations about pricing and things like that, the call answering side of things is almost always the biggest issue, isn't it? Like, I'm too busy, and that's why a lot of businesses lose out, or a lot of the sole traders lose out to companies that have got office staff, because they just can't compete. When you're busy on the job and you don't answer the phone, the company with the office staff are going to secure that customer. This is a good way to try and compete, let's say, with them, isn't it? You're going to be able to take enough information from them, get that booking link out to them, or if it's urgent, then they can be connected to you. And what I think that can allow the sole trader lads to do is, they're going to know then at this point that if the phone does ring, it's going to be important and someone needs to speak to them. So rather than being like, I'm not answering my phone because I'm fixing this, you know, I'm on a right-hand hydro block on a Worcester and it's in a shit location, I'm fighting with her and it's 15-year-old and everything's all seized up and that, and you're in a shit mood for it, you can just think, well, actually my phone's ringing, it is important, so therefore I need to grab this. Everything else that's maybe non-urgent, or people do want that online booking, then they're just going to deal with the AI on its own.
Yeah. And then there's a whole other part of that AI as well, which I forgot to mention, is the chat AI. So within the Sales Line software, you can, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that, gents and ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to sneeze again.
Bless you.
Got a bug going around the house. I reckon I'm getting it. So with the chat AI, let me show it. Sorry, let's show it.
Yeah,
as well.
I want to show it.
Yeah. So again, I'll use my business as an example. So in here on my website, we've got this pop-up. I've asked it how much a boiler service is, and obviously I've trained the AI to answer, and it's given me the price that we charge for a service. And then let's say, what's it asking me? What's my name? So my name is Wayne. Can I book in, please? And basically, it will reply autonomously, but based on the training that we've done. Okay, so it's just asking for some info. Hopefully you can all see this. You should be able to see it. Yeah, you can. Just checking. So for those listening, basically I've asked it, can I book in? It's now just gathering some information. So it's asked me for my email address, my phone number. And now what it should do is, there we go. So it's told them they can't book it in directly through the chat, but they can book online. So it sent me the link to book online. So again, this is all happening without you having to do it. So customers that go on your website can get information. They can ask how much things are. They get, and then obviously can get pointed to where to book online. So that the phone and the chat AI is where I'm using it most in my plumbing and heating business, but I'm also using it in content creation. So I'm using it to prompt and get ideas for posts and social media stuff. Yeah. So are you using the chat as well, Andy? I think you are on your site as well, aren't you?
Yeah. So currently we've got the chat bot running on the website, which again essentially does the same thing. It will guide them to the online booking, and then we've got the out of hours AI running from, again, to try and serve the same purpose. That is that particular. So we've got the chat bot, which is powered by a Sales Lion, and then we've got the out of hours AI call handling, which is powered by ServiceMate, which we did have the Sales Lion one running. We're just trialing out the ServiceMate one at the minute because it's only just been released, so we're just testing that. And then in terms of other AI stuff running, again, obviously we use it in Off the Tools, but for the purpose of the listeners, we've got some of the internal stuff. So it can do things like, this is probably a bit more prevalent for the guys that are already using job management software, but another thing that ServiceMate now has in place is an auto route tracking, an auto route guidance system, which essentially is powered by the mapping system, but it's then got the live AI, which factors in the road networks and which routes are busier and things like that. It's a bit more intuitive than it perhaps looks at face value or sounds at face value. But you can, if you're using the principle of giving customers a larger booking window, you can then use the AI routing system, which can constantly change, and you can then let the AI plan your route for the day. And this is, again, becomes extra valuable if you've got a team of engineers, because you can shuffle diaries around, let the AI choose the order of the jobs for them, and get the most out of your engineers or the most out of yourself if it's just you. I'm trying to think what else we're using it on at the minute. I think we're all quite focused on the chatbot and the call handling, really, aren't they? Because that's again, like we were talking about in the last episode, about most guys are very focused on being the best engineer, and as a result are not going to be the most efficient on the phone, perhaps not be able to answer the phone even. And this is the two ways that a customer is going to try and find your business, aren't they? They're going to either come through to your website or they're going to ring you. So if you can automate an AI power one of those or both of those two things, you're going to free up enough time for you to just get your head down. And we've got to go back a little bit and say, obviously, even though we've spoke about you should learn the business side of things, a lot of guys who pride themselves on being a phenomenal engineer want to continue down that route for the most part. So this gives a different way of growing and scaling your business. If you want to continue to be a brilliant engineer, then you want to try and work on outsourcing all of the other stuff that you're probably pretty shit at. Like most lads aren't very good at answering the phone. You know what I mean? They're probably not doing any upselling. They're probably not converting the job over the phone. And I would argue that they're probably giving too much value over the phone as well. And this is maybe going off on a little bit of a tangent, but the guys that are answering the phone and maybe giving advice over the phone are potentially losing money because of it. You know what I mean? Like people might ring up and say, "Oh, I've got this fault on my boiler," and you might diagnose it over the phone and say, "I don't know, it's a Worcester and it's leaking from the right hand side." You know what I mean? You're going to say, "Okay, well, that's either the flow spacer or the right hand block." And what I'll do, I'll come out with both parts or whatever. Whereas, in my opinion, from a business viewpoint, that should be booked in as a fault find diagnostics visit first. If you don't book that in as a fault find, you're losing the job there. The AI is going to strive to do that. It's going to want to book them in as a diagnostics visit, isn't it? Whereas
again, because there's no emotion there, is there? It's just doing what you've trained it to do, isn't it?
You're costing the business money by answering the phone as an engineer, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%. And just from a time perspective, your time as an engineer is a lot more valuable than something that can answer the phone. So like the sales line AI, you can have that sort of system for say 200, 300, 400 quid a month, somewhere in that sort of region. It's only got to get a couple of jobs over the line and it's paid for itself. But think about the time that you've saved by not having to deal with all of that day-to-day stuff. It's really is a no-brainer to have some level. Not saying you have to fully dive in and have it do everything, but you can have it do some stuff at a fairly cost-effective rate.
So an extension of what we spoke about in one of the last podcasts of season 1 of how implementing a job management software frees up enough time to generate far more revenue than the software cost you to have it in the first place. And again, to continue with that, focusing on being an engineer side of things, that's what it allows you to do, doesn't it? You can implement that out of hours AI, the AI automated call handling service, and you can just crack on doing what you're best at and generating the most money out. And like say, when you look at it from that perspective, it's pretty cheap when you think about it.
It's an investment again, isn't it? Like the job management system. If you use it correctly, it is an investment. It will make a return, whether it be money or time or both. You're going to see some one or if not both savings, and it really is. Then and you've got to remember, right? This is all still very new in the scheme of technology. When you think about how long internet and social media have been out, AI in its current sort of form is basically a baby still. So where it will be in a year's time, 2 years time, who knows? But all I know is it's like a train. If you're not getting on and learning and implementing some of it, you're going to be miles behind. Similar to like the reviews. If you didn't start collecting reviews 5 years ago, you're a long way behind someone that did, and AI is going to be a similar trend.
I'm gonna say something that's might be a bit controversial and might trigger some conversations, but if you're not getting on this train with all the stuff we spoke about in the last one and this one, you're going to get left behind because you cannot compete anymore. I believe quite strongly in this, and obviously this is why we try to help so many lads in the trades, is because just that example that I've used before, you're under a boiler, you don't answer the phone, customers are ruthless, aren't they, nowadays? They will ring the next guy, the next guy, the next guy. And the company that's going to secure them is the company that either has the AI or has someone in the office or a combination or whatever it is, but has someone who will always pick up the phone there and then. And that's the thing that's going to kill off the lads who are sole traders, because the customer loyalty is not what it once was in the trades industry at all. People are impatient as fuck. They want someone now. Like, they don't. It's our business has picked up a lot of customers who have previously used a sole trader type guy for a few years, but he's not picked up the phone. That's what we get. Well, I've got a normal guy, but I can't get hold of him. It's like,
and most people just want to be dealt with. So even if it's a booking for a few days down the line, at that point of time, they might be on their lunch break. They might have 10 minutes where they just need to get a resolution planned. It doesn't mean you have to be able to get there in an hour. You know, it just means that customer has basically ticked it off their to-do list, haven't they? They're like, I've booked in the boiler service. I've sorted out the repair for the electrics or whatever it might be. It's getting that resolved. And like you just said, you know, the company that has the capacity to deal with that the quickest is going to win and going to thrive. And the person that doesn't, the person that's busy as hell, you know, head in a consumer unit, head under a boiler, that can't answer that phone, is going to lose out. And short term, you might not see a big impact, but over the next 2 to 5 years, that will compound like anything does. You know, every lost job is not only money out of your pocket, it's money into the person that you're competing with, directly or indirectly competing with, you know. And then they're growing, they're getting stronger. They can invest in better systems because they have them extra customers that you've lost because you weren't willing to throw a few £100 a month into it.
Yeah, I think the gap between the traditional trades businesses and the ones that are moving or getting on the train, let's use your analogy before, is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because the top end stuff, there's more and more stuff out there. And like you say, everything compounds, doesn't it? So not only are you going to lose that customer because you don't answer the phone, people, if you've got that mindset, like we were saying about reviews and marketing, you're also going to lose. You're not going to gain any new customers, so you're going to lose what you had and not get anything new, because you know what I mean. So that gap is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger because the traditional way of doing things no longer works. And even the guys that are well established, because they were operating from 20 years ago, they're going to see arguably a slower decline, but a decline nonetheless. Because if, like, say you're, because I say customers are a bit savage. If you miss that call and they go to someone else, but someone else is doing it better than you because you're old school, then the likelihood is you're never going to get that customer back, even if the other company is more expensive, because people value the time a little bit more. As you've just said, people's trying to get something boxed off in their lunch hour, or when they've got 5 minutes when the kids are quiet, they want to get it dealt with there and then. So I think we're in really interesting times, and there's going to be guys that have been maybe struggling for the last year or so or more. If they don't take action now, they're going to struggle. They're going to end up with no business left. It's like, when we've touched on pricing, the guys that are charging 60, 70 quid for a boiler service, and that response is, well, my customers won't pay anymore. Well, it's like, well, how can you elevate and add value to your business so that they will? You say, and that's, just putting something like this in place. We've now implemented a 24/7 call handling service. So if it's a single guy, one-man band guy, if I'm busy, or if you've got lads, if the team is busy, then we can still take your call. We might not get back to you straight away, but be safe knowing that your call information has been logged, and one of us will pick it up, like you say, so then it's served that purpose. So absolutely, something needs to be implemented. And to play devil's advocate as well, to hear about some of the talk on the forums about the other side, people saying, oh no, I need to move into an industry where I can make some money from AI, and maybe I need to stop being a tradesman because I don't make enough money. What other areas can I operate in? I would say this is right up there with one of, if not the safest industries out there. Anything that's physical, like you said earlier on, the what you might have conceptualized previously, like, you know, iRobot, is going to be one of the last things, because it's too expensive for anything like that to be implemented.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, I was listening to a podcast with Mo Gaudat on, who, for those who don't know, he used to be the CEO of Google X.
He invented the infinite scroll, didn't he? I think that was one of his inventions. Yeah. So we can blame him for a lot.
And he was saying that, like, the same thing really, the trades type stuff, the hands-on stuff is going to be one of the last, because even though you see a lot of like robotics within like the industrial realm, so, you know, like robots welding car panels together, for example, that's because that's a specific thing designed for that job in a static location. Whereas to create something like an iRobot to go out to someone's house and fix a boiler, the costings of that, because the human body is designed to be a very good all-rounder, isn't it? So it's not, and this is getting a little bit in the depths of it. AI wants to be as efficient as possible, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So to create a human body to go out and fix a boiler is not efficient. So it will drive efficiency into other realms like robotics within industries, or what's even more efficient, software, which is what we've just been talking about. So I would say, for the guys that are perhaps wondering what will happen to their jobs or career, I would say this is definitely one of the safest places you can operate. If you're a graphic designer, then it's a different conversation, isn't it? Like, whereas, like, you know what I mean? Whereas even things like, you know, anything that's working on the other side of the screen and not using it to leverage the business is probably a little bit itchy foot time. Whereas the physical stuff, you know, the trades, you know what I mean, that sort of thing, I would say it's one of the safest things out there. And like you said before, for at least the next 20 years.
Yeah. At least, you know, like Elon Musk recently, I remember listening to a podcast, and he said that he thinks that by 2050, every house will have a robot. Like everyone has a phone. He believes but that is going to be like as an assistant, probably more. It's not ever going to, cost-wise, in the next 50 years, realistically, it's never going to be able to get to that point where it can like do tasks that humans can do in a physical situation, you know, like under a sink, you know, doing all this sort of stuff. It's just,
robotics,
of course, but
robotics is a very different conversation to AI, isn't it? Like, AI is the back end of it, isn't it?
Yeah, very true. That's the brain inside of the robot, isn't it?
And what happens when the robot tries to fix that boiler and gets wet and
frazzles out.
One of the lads had an interesting job the other day, and just to chat about the robot getting wet. The customer was getting no hot water from a combi boiler. The boiler wasn't firing for hot water as if it wasn't detecting. This particular boiler uses a flow turbine. So the lad understandably thought the turbine must be shot. So we isolated the flow going into the boiler. And so I'm going to pull the turbine out. As he pulls the turbine out, a turbo jet of water at mains pressure is spraying him in the face, which again would have killed the robot off. But that had happened because the customer, who was doing his own bathroom, had crossed the flow around.
Oh,
so
no!
The boiler was actually going back up through the flow. So an AI robot wouldn't have known that, and then it would have got soaked, and then it would have been ruined. But just a little funny story there. User error The robotic AI could not counteract the user error of that scenario. But yeah, I think this, just to get back on track, I think guys who are wondering what will happen to the job, because the trades are so much based on a physical aspect to it. I do genuinely believe this is one of the, even the AI experts are saying these are the safer industries.
It's anyone that like works on a screen, really. That's where the risk is, isn't it? You know, solicitors, data analysis, web design, you know, which is so surreal when you think, like, growing up, you know, they were like safe. Even like doctors and that. I listened to something about, I believe an anaesthetist is the highest paid role in a hospital, because it's so highly like tuned or something. But this AI guy was saying that, like, we're going to get to the point where the AI computer system they'll only need one real person to oversee the robot that can anesthetize better, you know, and quicker, you know, and like where it goes in the medical scene, like is going to be good for everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, even to the point where, like, back in the day, I think this is live now, if they cut cancer out of someone, right, that would then have to be sent off to a lab, then it would get analyzed, and then it would come back, oh no, there's still traces on the peripheral of what you've cut, so you need to go back in. So that poor person would then have to go back, get another operation. Now, some hospitals have got devices that they can just put the cut out in, and it analyzes it in minutes, you know, and gets a live feedback. And when you think about everyone wearing wearables like Whoop bands and Apple Watches and that, once they start to integrate that with real medicine and medical and it's just gonna change what we know of healthcare, I think.
Well, to go back to what we were saying about the robotics side, again, the hindrance of robotics in the real world is that the very good at being static robotics, certainly like the factory side of things. Well, you're static on an operating table, aren't you?
Yeah.
So that's you know what I mean? And arguably, you can design robotics that are far better at carrying out a surgery on a singular machine than having a surgeon who's bound by just a pair of hands. You know what I mean? Like, if you have one big robotic machine that can, as you know what I mean, cut someone open, it does this and does that, you know what I mean, and holds this, and that's where I think it'll blow up. But yeah, we could definitely talk about the interesting side of it outside of the industry all day for sure. But yeah, we do like a tangent, but to bring it back on topic for us, I would go as far as I said before, if you don't get on that train, I think you're just going to get left behind, like, because you know what I mean. And it doesn't have to be a big business like, you know, like me and you have got. It doesn't have to be at that level. It can be the one-man band in a van. Just by adding that, you've elevated your business to what a few years ago would have needed a couple of people in the office, just by implementing some software through Sales Lion to take that call and ping them out a booking link. That's like, you're going to elevate your business so much by doing such a small thing, because you're leveraging AI rather than fighting against it. Because if you don't, the guy down the road does it, and that's it. He's got all your customers anyway.
Yeah. On that note, I think we've said enough for today's session on that. Any closing thoughts?
No, just if it's something that's perked your curiosity, get in touch. Again, we'll definitely, I imagine this will be a regular touch point among, because it crosses over from other stuff as we've found before, and it's getting drip fed into the industry. Obviously, we've talked about what's accessible to us now. That's changing on a weekly basis, really, isn't it? So there's going to be future touch points. So if you've got any questions around it and how it can help your business, then just get in touch with one of us, and we can either answer direct or we'll do more sessions on it.
All right. Have a good one, guys.